Good morning. I am sitting here with a nice cup of coffee. I just got out of bed. I didn't sleep that well. I was washing my face and I was remembering Gladiatore, the film The Gladiator, and Russell Crowe when he was invited to he was invited by the Vatican to do a tour by himself of the murals and the chapels without any tourists. He was by himself and he was amazed when they focused all the illumination, not day illumination, they focused this artificial illumination and everything seemed to unreal to him. And he was, wow, thank you for that. Why did you do that? And they said jokingly, we did it because Maximus, you are the eighth king of Rome. And of course, um, I don't know. I was also thinking about the Familia Sagrada in Barcelona. They are still building it. They haven't finished yet. And I was thinking to myself, will they continue building things like this in the future? Will they continue? Because I look at India and it seems they stopped. They stopped with the temple buildings. They have this magnificent uh, castles. They are castles. They're not temples. They are castles. People, rich people, used to just celebrate their I don't know, marriage by building one of those things, and they started building it for the next generations. Because it took time to complete it. So it was a family thing. It was a generational thing, and to celebrate someone's marriage. They were planning the marriage of their next grandson or something like that. And later they transformed those castles into temples. But the castles themselves, architecturally tell the story of the culture. They tell the story of the worldview, right? And it's the same thing in these chapels in Rome, and the same thing in Barcelona. It's telling a story of these people, you know. And I was thinking to myself, will they continue building things? Because look at the culture nowadays. Look at the architecture. We are going through some really dark shit at the moment. And it reflects the system, it reflects the oligarchy that's in charge. Buildings are ugly, they are gray. Accidentally, automobiles also are gray or black because it's, I don't know, the most cheap or easy, I don't know, this metallic gray or metallic black. Same thing as buildings, they're all gray and black. Windows look like a jail. Most windows don't open, and they are, supported by AC. And it's funny that they don't open. And you look from outside, it looks like a prison. It's designed without a soul. It doesn't have a soul. It's not like architecture of the past that had spiritual inclination, that had a spiritual vibration to it. No, architecture nowadays has no spirituality whatsoever. And it's not even functionality. No, it's not functional or practical. No, they're not. They're just ugly. They're just made ugly, like airports. Bathrooms are so far away in airports. If it's an emergency, you're finished. It doesn't make any sense, you know. They make you walk so you can check the, the stuff that's for sale, everybody wants to be represented, in airports, all companies. So anyway, civilization. That was the intro for civilization. I was thinking about civilization. I don't know. Civilization is almost an anomaly. Look around. Civilization comes out of the intellect of people, of humans. It doesn't come out of anything else. Mother Nature, no. Other animals, no. It's only out of humans that civilization comes about. The more intellect the population has, the more sophisticated that civilization becomes. The more sophisticated it becomes, the more difficult it is to maintain and sustain. It is hard work to maintain and sustain a highly sophisticated civilization, society. People who live in other places that haven't been, touched by this thing called progress, they look at it and they feel seduced, or they may even wrongly think, oh, they live in easy mode. Look at them, they dress so well, they travel, they have all of these trinkets, they are so comfortable. Look at them. But no, that's just a facade. People who live in sophisticated societies, they have to work hard, and it is only with rough, hard work and education, which literally lobotomizes your brain, that you are able to sustain and maintain civilization as you know it. Yes, children are being lobotomized for the sake of maintaining and sustaining this society that we have. We lose creativity, spontaneity, etc., so we can contain and maintain this legacy that our ancestors left us. It's like Thomas Sowell said, every human born desperately requires education, or otherwise it will remain savage, in the sense savage, or it will remain closest to nature as possible. It will remain a savage or an alien, to culture. So culture is an anomaly, and it's alien to Mother Nature. It only comes out of people's intellect. Yeah. And it is only with education, literally lobotomizing the brain, that the next generation is going to take and continue it. It will take 1-2 generation tops to destroy everything. Yes, it doesn't take that long. I see changes. I see changes in the air, and it's not to maintain and sustain the current thing. It's turning into an oligarchy as you start, analyzing it. They don't really care about civilization anymore. The oligarchs, they just want to control the world. One company that produces chicken, one company that produces toothpaste, just one company for everything, and they sell worldwide, and there's no competition. That's where we are heading. And they don't care about La Chapelle Sistine. They don't care about La Famille Sagrade. They don't care about those things at all. I wonder, will humans in the future build these things? I almost, I almost, I'm a bit of an artist, and I sense that humans do these things as an ode to the spiritual. The spiritual literally runs through this body, and it builds an ode, an homage to beauty, to spirit, using the materials that we have at our disposal. It is an homage to the beautiful, to the beautiful, to the divine, you know. That's why we do it. But in these past decades, there's no divine, there's no divinity or transcendence in people. It's called brutalist architecture, and it's ugly. It was, you know, after the First World War. First World War literally was the end of the old continent. The old continent um, perished. The culture of the old continent perished. Millions got unalived, and there was a shift in the worldview. There was a shift in culture and architecture and everything, So La Famille Sagrada in Barcelona is probably, a vestige of a distant past, that still nobody's building things like that anymore since the First World War. They're just building this brutalist stuff. And it keeps people inside, it's almost like the faithful followers of nihilism, and they build these buildings that have no soul, and their job, their task is to maintain the technocratic world that came after the First World War. It's anyway, civilization is an anomaly, and the more sophisticated the civilization is, the harder it is to maintain. Do you know how stressful people are? I know how stressful people are. I lived in one of the most advanced, technologically, socially advanced culture in the world, the most rich and advanced culture in the world. I lived for about 15 years there, and everybody was so polite. Everybody was, even in the road, I mean, everybody was so servile and so polite and attentive. But there is a dark side to it. I've heard this from Japan as well. There's a dark side to it. People interiorize and don't let things out. So not only they hold things in too much, then they take respite in these cheap fake holidays once or twice a year. Airports were always full. The entire country just disappeared abroad in mass. Millions of people, they would hop on planes and cars. They just disappeared because there was nothing to see there in that culture, in that society. It was just a working place. Pretty nice coffee. It was ugly. It was brutalist. Everything worked. It was a Protestant. Of course, it had to be a Protestant-based culture where rules and regulations sharpened the IQ of people. People with low IQ would have a hard time living in that society because rules and regulations was made to sharpen the edges. So it was a rich culture, but people was miserable. They was miserable. They interiorized a lot. I mean, a coworker. I mean, have you ever had someone who just unalived them out of the blue? I had a coworker who did that. We just don't understand. I just couldn't understand what just happened. Um, Everything seems fine, and next day, guess what? What? We just didn't see it coming. It's the culture itself It's the stress of sustaining and maintaining a highly advanced culture puts too much pressure on people. It's unbelievable. Plus, since the world is being run by oligarchs, the oligarchs of the industries, everybody's malnourished pretty much because the industries doesn't care about your, they care about profit. They don't care about anything else. So everybody is malnourished. Yeah, malnourished. They are sleep deprived because they don't have enough minerals to produce melatonin. Plus everybody's being inside everybody seems to be living inside a microwave, bombarded from all directions, and which causes dehydration with these frequencies, malnourished, sleep deprived, highly stressed because everybody needs to work, to pay the bills. If you don't pay the bills, you're out. It's as simple as that. In a highly, competitive, advanced civilization with all the comforts, all the cars and the trinkets, if you don't work a steady job, you're out of the game. And in that culture, there was no such thing as houseless people. No, no houseless people. It was very easy to find a job, but it was very difficult to find a roof. People shared apartments because it is a highly competitive. Everybody wants to live there, you know. Even though it's miserable, the weather was miserable, even though everybody was depressed, but everybody still wanted to go there. It's incredible, right? How the hell did I land it there? I don't know. Accident of fate. The opportunity presented, and I said, okay, let's try it out. It wasn't something I seeked. The opportunity was like, hey, you want to come? And I was, okay, why not? I always wanted to see how things was outside, my own country. That's how it was for me. It wasn't like I have a goal, I have to do this. No, I went as a tourist almost. I hate tourists, but no, I went as curious as possible. I never experienced, what life was outside my own country. It's pretty much the same, but more stressful, actually. I realized how easy we in this country, Portugal, actually, how easy we have compared to, highly advanced other cultures that are more advanced, more rich. So people worked, a steady job of 5, 6 days a week, between 8, 9 hours a day. If you are an employee, right? If you're an employee, you're better than the employer. The employer doesn't have a personal life or a house, I suppose. He's going to spend more time in the office than at home. So I think they transform their home into an office. If you're the employer, taxes was extremely high, and yes, we had access to all the comfort of the world, but food was really bad, not nourishing enough, and because it all came from the industry. It's really bad. You can't really have it all. I noticed that the more advanced civilization is, the more depressed people become, the less spiritual people become. You know, in metaphysics, when they say, when if you want to join, our uh, philosophy, you have to abandon all your belongings. That's what they are trying to say. You can't have one without the other. I mean, you can try balance both, but if you are serious about spirituality, materialism is just, something in the way that's going to block the way. So, some strict sects, the requisition to join the sect is to abandon your matrix life. You have to abandon everything. That's why, in Christianity or in Buddhism or any other, they were known as houseless people. They didn't have a house. They crashed at people's place. They slept in the woods. They had no belongings, zero belongings. And if you go in the path of materialism, if you choose to have all the comforts and trinkets, you will. It's a slippery slope. You will easily become, you know, uh, less spiritual. But then again, like I was trying to explain, the more advanced the civilization becomes, the less spiritual there's room, the less room there is for spirituality. You know, so try to balance things out. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it is. Anyway, I've been talking for 22 minutes already. People who see this from the outside, they might we think that we live an easy life on easy mode. No, we don't. Do you think people that come from other cultures, and do you think they will have the motivation to build another Familia Sagrada or Sistine Chapel? Do you think they will have the will to build those things? My guess is not. You know, the more actually you people, I mean, I'm not against migrations. I'm in favor, 100%. But I'm also in favor of education, not lobotomy, but real education. I'm in favor of really, you have to understand, empathize, have compassion, and have a spiritual understanding. It's the only way you're going to understand, you know, people that come from other cultures. You have to spiritually understand their worldview. Yeah. If it is, who are they? What what do they want? Is it compatible with your own? If you do that, I mean, it will avoid lots of trouble. If you don't, then I mean, I was just looking at the graph, because if you import, blindly people will bring a piece of their world, of their dysfunction world, towards your place. They will bring a piece. The hell that they are trying to escape is going to come with them. You know what I mean? Yes, you can think of it as a fresh start, but the hell you were trying to avoid, escape, is coming with you because it's within. Hell is within. I was looking at the graph of people graping. Of course, the first country, you know, is England. The second is Sweden and France, etc. And it's like millions, in the millions. It's out of control. And I read somewhere in the Middle Ages, this behavior was a declaration of conflict, pretty much. Because if you can't protect your females, you can't protect your borders. You're pretty much inviting them in if you don't do anything about it. So I don't really have a dog on the fight. I just I'm just observing and letting things, because you can't save them. You can't save anybody. They're mad. Everybody seems to be lost, and I don't think I don't think there's few people that actually are not lost. But I suppose that's civilization for you. That's ups and downs, right? There's ups and downs, and now we are going down, and and it has to do with intellect, you know. The lobotomy that people take in school, I suppose, you know, was supposed to maintain and sustain society, is actually becoming its destruction. You know what I mean? There was a point, and I think it was the First World War. There was a turning point that the civilization of the West took a bad turn, and I think it was after the First World War. It really took a bad turn. Uh, anyway, okay. Have a nice day.